Motion 605, a full-time paid NUS trans officer and an autonomous NUS trans liberation campaign. The proposal speech is property of NUS LGBT+ committee. Can I see a delegate to take that speech, please? Come on up, delegate. You have a minute and a half. Please state your name and constituent member for the record.
Frank Howling, NUS NEC. Over the last decade, we have seen the rights of LGBT people take huge leaps and bounds in their fight for liberation. However, the same cannot be said for the trans movement. The trans community are one of the most marginalized groups in society. They continue to be killed at unprecedented rates, denied legal rights, equality, and denied access to gender-affirming healthcare. This year, the NUS Trans and LGBT conferences voted unanimously in support of a full-time trans officer that's paid and an NUS Trans campaign. That is a clear mandate for us to support this motion. And what we are asking is that NUS National Conference stands in solidarity with trans students and supports this motion. In 1973, NUS was one of the first organisations in the UK to create formal representation for LGBT students. We were groundbreaking, and we set the standard for progressive organisations across the UK. By voting for this motion, we will be giving trans students a voice they don't have, and proving that once again we are committed to giving a voice to the most marginalised in our movements and society. Right now, only a handful of volunteers. Let's just make history and continue to be proud, and I'm proud to be part of this movement, and please support this motion and give trans students a voice. Please vote yes for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate, for that speech in favour of the motion. If I can have people sat back down. Is there anyone who would like to take a speech against this motion? I see that delegate there. Delegate, you have a minute and a half. Please state your name and union for the records.
Kulmia Tifo, University of Wolverhampton Students' Union. Conference, I believe the NUS provides a great platform for all liberation groups, LGBT+, women's, disabled, blacks. Investing in a full-time trans officer, in my opinion, is a waste of resources. We are at a crucial time where we have to be united and stick together. We cannot have division. And the way that we are going down the line, are we going to ask for a full-time Muslim officer, a full-time Jewish officer, a full-time Catholic officer, a full-time Christian officer? Conference. Let's not play the victimized game. Let's sit around the table and discuss the issues. Let's stick together and let's unite. Conference, vote down this motion. Thank you.
Conference, since this is very clearly an issue that people want to carry on talking about, I'm going to take another round of speeches. Can I see hands in the air for someone willing to take speeches in favour of this? I see that delegate there. You have a minute and a half. Please state your name and union for the records.
Rob Noon, LGBT+ officer for Derby College. Didn't think you'd actually choose me. You say you want unity between all. If you want unity, please vote for this motion, because unity means solidarity, and solidarity means representation for for a community that has just been completely ignored by our LGBT+ campaign. If you are a cis ally, please vote for this motion, because it means so much to us as a community to be represented democratically. Please, we need to have our voice heard, and this motion means that we will be represented for once. Please vote for it.
Thank you, Delegate, for that speech, and thank you, Conference, for your appreciation of all the speakers. If I can have people sat back down, can I see any delegates willing to take a speech against this motion? Any hands at all? In that case, Conference, we move on to summation. Summation is property of NUS LGBT+ Committee. Can I see a delegate to take that speech? I see that delegate there. Delegate, you have a minute and a half. Please state your name and union for the record.
Anna Lee, NUS NEC. We stand here on the verge of creating the 5th NUS Liberation Campaign, striding forward where no other organisation has anywhere in the world. Trans liberation has fought long and hard, and the end could not seem further away. Basic fundamental rights like legal recognition and adequate healthcare, standing up to a government which fails us time and time again. Trans students keep on dying, and giving us the representation we so desperately need and deserve will save countless lives. Conference, voting for this motion is what solidarity looks like. For 3 years, trans students have fought and have been campaigning in NUS to get us here. It is our time. Vote for this motion. Vote for the trans students who have no home. Vote for the trans students who never made it into education. Vote for the trans students who cannot be here. Vote for this motion. Thank you.
Conference, if you can keep your jubilation to a lower decibel. Thank you, Speaker. Conference, before we go to a vote on this motion, I have to throw over to DPC because we have a procedural motion.
Hi, Conference. We've had a procedural motion, and that is procedural motion 380D, that the vote be by secret ballot.
So, Conference, I have to see 100 delegates on conference floor who are willing to hear the case for that procedural motion. Do I see 100 delegates? I very clearly don't, Conference. Conference, just before we go to the vote, I have to make one thing clear. As this motion amends the actual articles of the company, this change will have to be approved by a company law meeting later in the year, though this vote does actually pass the motion as it is at conference. There's just more things to happen further down the line. So, Conference, on motion 605, a full-time paid NUS trans officer and an autonomous NUS trans liberation campaign, all those in favour? And those against? Any abstentions? That very clearly passes. Thank you, Conference. You can take your seats again. There'll be plenty of time for celebration later this evening. Thank you, Conference. Thank you, Conference. If you could return to your seats. Thank you, Conference. If you can take your seats again, please.